welcome to the gun shop. Today we're going to be looking at this, the 88 Arms SP Bronze Sporter. Before I start, I've got a little bit of a cold, so excuse my mild speech impediment today. We had a little look the other day, and for those of you who want a real in-depth look, certainly at maybe some of the cons or maybe more of a negative look than I'm going to give it today, please check out our 88 Arms versus Silver Pigeon video, and that will give you a lot of information about the internals and the working mechanism. Today we're going to be looking more of it as an independent look, how it comes if you take it away from the Silver Pigeon entirely. Of course that's kind of hard. We'll give you a little bit of history here. They used to be called the 88 Arms 686. Beretta probably got angry with that, so they changed that, and now it's called the SP, which is just a rip-off of Silver Pigeon, obviously, but that's by the by. Aesthetically, it looks very similar, but as we've already discovered, mechanically, it is not massively the same. Very, very good, however, and that's the last thing I'm going to say about it being like a Beretta. It's probably not. So, without further ado, the box. When you get this, it says since 1955, so it's got a little bit of credence. ATA, aim for the best, and prevent child access, which is kind of hard, since they only give you a cardboard box. Although I obviously understand the sentiment. When you open it, you receive two pyjamas, and these are really nice actually. If you look at it, you've got 88 Arms on one of them embroidered, and actually the quality there, it's a nice touch, it's a really nice touch. What they do give you, which I don't entirely understand, although it's nice, is they give you some maintenance oil and some hardening oil so that you can actually look after your stock, and a couple of pieces of sandpaper so that if you do scratch your gun you can bring it back to normal. I would rather they give you some choke grease and some gun grease or some gun oil, but again, that's fine. You also get this little black box. Inside this little black box, it's the same black box as a lot of the Turkish companies use. You get some chokes. These are similar to a mogul choke from Beretta, but they are not quite the same. The necking on them is slightly different. Lovely choke. You get 3 in there, 2 in there, full set of 5, and you get this little trifecta choke key, 28, 20 and 12 gauge respectively. It just clips in like that, and isn't that rather delightful? Wonderful. Apart from that, you don't get anything else. That is your cardboard box. There are some instructions in there, but they are not perhaps the most concise. Anyway, cardboard aside, what you're paying for here, this gun is £600, for those of you who don't know, and the tags are still on these at the moment for $599. That's quite cheap. That's extremely cheap for a new shotgun. You know, you've got to think what it compares with is not a lot. You've got the Webley 650, or 950, sorry, and that's £650. That's very comparable quality, but I think, in all honesty, this one just has those looks where it has copied other people's features quite extensively. It's got that popular look, so it looks a lot from a little distance away. Alright, so without further ado, let's come in close and have a look, I suppose. On the back of the gun you get this sporting clays type pad. It's really nice. You get the hard top section here, and that really helps it get into the shoulder. The rest of the pad does lack in a little bit of finish, but it is very, very good. That harder pad actually is very, very forgiving in recoil, and that's very pleasant. With a little bit of silicone oil thread in here, you will slicken the whole thing up anyway. If you really need to, you can just cover it all in black electrical tape. But that soft top, or that hard top, and the soft pad is a fairly good combination. I mean, Pacmar use it, so it's not a bad idea. Right, moving on to the stock. Each of these comes with a grade 1 wood. They did do a laminate offering actually, which is really nice, but it's a little bit more money, so you have to be in love with it to buy it, unlike these, which are more of a budget-centric, sensible idea. The checkering is quite coarse. It's nice, but it is quite coarse. It's all laser cut, and it's very practical, but it's not very refined. The whole lines of the stock are quite straight actually, which is quite impressive. If you actually look at the gun as a whole, a lot of these budgeter guns do not come out quite as well refined as they should do. And, you know, around the blade it's a little wide, and around the nose it's a little wide here, but that's fine. The flats are good, the wood to metal finish is very good, and there's a lot to actually like about the stock. Grip wise, Grip-wise, it feels your hand quite. It's a very big grip. It's quite a long grip though, and with a non-adjustable trigger there, you might find actually it's not the nicest thing in the world if you have small hands, but you can always choke up on it if that's your style. My only gripe with it is that the bottom of the grip flares out almost, and it's kind of hard to catch on camera. No, it's not. Look at that. The bottom of the grip flares out, and that forces your hand high. I know some of their models do come, or did come, certainly with a proper palm swell, and I can see that would be really nice because you've got the size here, and it doesn't lend itself to a nice straight and proper grip. It's forcing your hand up into a bad position, I suppose. But apart from that, the wood to metal fit is fantastic, and actually some of the scalloping on the stock is really very pleasant. I'm impressed. I am very impressed. I believe in their higher grades you do get higher grade wood. Obviously Turkish walnut, as this gun is made in Turkey. Right, so now on to the action. The action is, although externally very Beretta-esque, and it uses 2 locking lugs in the top and 2 trunnions on the side, it is not entirely Beretta. What you certainly notice is there is a metal-to-metal fit issue that is not quite as good. If the wood-to-metal fit is as good as it is, the metal-to-metal fit is fairly poor, and the way that all the bits click together is just not quite on. However, it's £600 and you can't expect top-notch engineering at that price. I love the bronze. The bronze is really nice, and actually it's got a real soft feel to it that works really well. Personally, I think it meshes better with the flat black barrels, but again, that is only aesthetic. We'll move on to that in a second. We have here, technically, this is the Sporter in the flat black, and it has a manual safety with selector, and the game here is 30-inch. They didn't have any 30-inch Sporters in, unfortunately. We have a selector that is automatic safety, and we have gloss black barrels. We're bringing the other gun in now, mostly because we have the gloss black and the phosphate black, and we're going to have a look at the barrels now. The barrels are very good. In fact, the monoblocks are where it gets very similar to a Beretta, and they have that same locking lug system and the same trunnion system. Similar, not the same. I really like these phosphate black barrels. I think they're really nice, and they've caught a lot of people's eye. Certainly a lot of pigeon boys like them, a lot of clay shooters like them, and I think that's actually a really nice, unique selling point. And perhaps that mixed with the sort of flat satin nature of the bronze, it goes really well. I'm a great fan. The gloss doesn't look bad, and actually the bluing job is of extreme quality, but if it was for me, I'd definitely be tending towards this flat black. It's really very nice. Plus, for pigeon shooting, you know, and to be fair, clay shooting, having no glare or low glare is pretty good. They're built on an 8mm parallel rib, both of them, and although these are gloss barrels, they have filed ribs, so actually you don't get any glare anywhere. So we can see the 2-piece forend iron in here. It works quite well, it's perfectly adequate. I'm not a huge fan of the push button forend, but it works and it's here to stay. You have the same ejection system as a Beretta, or very similar ejection system to a Beretta, and actually it ejects and tires for a cheap gun very, very smoothly and very, very nicely. Once we've taken this off, we can see now the forend lump here, and that's where the depth of this forend, it is an extremely deep forend certainly, comes from. It's a really, really tall loop actually, and that then has to flow through the whole forend iron and forend wood, which is absolutely fine. The trigger is mechanical, and because it runs off top-loading sears, actually it can be a little bit spongy. But for a cheap gun, they are at least very consistent, and that counts for something. The trigger blade isn't particularly wide, as we can see, and it is more of a field trigger blade really. But again, it's £600. You can't ask for a full-blown sporting gun for £600. Although, wouldn't it be nice? So, both these guns are multi-choke, and they come with a very good copy of a mobile choke, but the tolerances aren't quite there. But again, come with 5 chokes, that's pretty good. The rib is a very thin rib by comparison to the thin mid-rib anyway, and that looks quite strange at the front, but it works quite well. I'm not unimpressed by the whole thing. Certainly something that we noticed while I was playing with these is they are very front-heavy guns. In the adjustable comb, which again they also do, there's an awful lot of options here. In the adjustable comb, that brings some of the weight back, but in reality, even they are front heavy. You could do with just a little rebalance, and actually with a rebalance in the 30-inch, you'd have a really nice, hefty clay shooting gun. As it stands, it's just a nice-ish front heavy all-rounder, and it just shoots very differently to most other things. The 28-inch is a little better. We go over the hinge pin here. The 28-inch is a little better, and actually, I would probably opt for that. But again, the wood on this one actually is a little bit heavier than on this one, it's a little bit denser. But here's my biggest issue with the ATA, really, although I would say, again, it's for £600, it's amazingly impressive, and that is why they have taken the market by storm, is this. I don't know if you can see this, but they don't have enough cast on them. They are very, very straight. Even when you're pushing your head right over, you can just about get it on there, but they're just over straight. And so just bear in mind, if you need a lot of cast, it's something that really is worth budgeting into the cost of the gun. Alright, apart from that, there's very little to say. They're great, they've got a great mechanical trigger, they eject, they've got multi-chokes, they've got everything you could ever want. They're £600 and they come with a year's warranty. Thank you very much for watching, take care and goodbye.